are Jalen Jacoby. What exactly is it that we do, Mr.
We
Rhodes?
make sure we take the time and energy to give the people what they want.
The sun remained red hot. We have some Boogie Cousin news and much more, but we start with the game that kept me up way past my bedtime. The Wizards and Lakers win overtime, and Bradley Beal took over. Little in the lane right there. He hit a crazy. Look where he jumped from. Jalen, what do you think about the Wizards all of a sudden?
Representing the Lou to the foot. Big shout out to Bradley Beal, leading the league, scoring, and doing it all facets. You saw him do it from three. You saw him doing an amazing reverse. And the most important thing is you saw him doing it in overtime. And I appreciate his demeanor this entire season. He's navigated the team's turbulence, and all of a sudden now Russ has gotten back healthy. Because I remember watching an interview of Russ early season, Jacoby, where he was talking basically feeling like he's playing on one leg. And so now all of a sudden they have dynamic backcourt and toe. In these last 5 games, they have been giving team flux off the dribble.
Absolutely. In these last 5 games, they've played really well, and a lot of it has to do with that man right there, Russell Westbrook. You look at that. 2-14 with Westbrook before his win streak, and now had 5 in a row with Westbrook. It did not hurt that the Lakers could not keep them out of the paint. They had 66 points, but Jalen, there's something on, especially with 4th overtime game for the Lakers. LeBron James is 3rd in the NBA in minutes played. Into the season with the offseason, I was thinking, you know what? There'd be load management. He was going to take it easy, focus on a playoff run. Not the case. How much concern is it that he's taking on so much load early in the season?
So much of a concern, Jacoby. I'm going to throw a theory out there that actually become commonplace. You may look at the bottom of the ticker and see Woj tweet this. And by the way, big shout out to Woj. He gave me terrific going home print to represent Mom. Jacoby, don't be surprised when all the players participating in All-Star Weekend go to the league and say, okay, we understand we're off from the 5th to 10th. But we be off from 5th through the 14th, which would be the following weekend after the All-Star festivities to create a longer break. And so you asked me about LeBron's load. He played every game this season. He had 71 days off after the Lakers won the championship. And I know his love for the game and his consistency throughout his career has been outstanding. I'm now glad he also has embraced his role of not being a fan of load management. And in doing that, I know personally he wants to send a message to media and the fans, to other people in the league, and as a parent, probably to his kids, that he shows up every day for work and he does take days off. And in doing that, he's going to wear himself down. LeBron looked tired in that basketball game.
Yeah.
When you shoot the basketball and it's the side of the rim and it goes bounce, he did it on the left side of the rim, he did it on the right side of the rim. That's fatigue. That's exactly what that is. And Hachimura did a really good job defensive. But again, LeBron James, we know, will keep up this level of minutes and still be as productive as he needs to be come off time. They will find a way to scale back.
The Phoenix Suns, no one's really noticed, have won 9-10 games. The latest was Dame and the Blazers. Booker had 34 points. Ayton contributed. What has been the key to this little streak for?
Number one key is Monty Williams. See, when you're going to build through the draft, and this is why Mark Jackson should own a coaching staff of an elite team right now leading the squad. This is what Mark Jackson should be a coach in the league, because the Golden State Warriors were built through the draft. Just like the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, you add C3. Yeah, you add Crowder. But the core of their team, Bridges, Johnson, Booker, those draft picks. You need a coaching staff. And shout out to my little brother, Willie Green, who's also on Monty's staff, doing a terrific job of developing those guys. So now, when they blow away they did in the bubble, you can go get Chris Paul. So when you make that move, they're now the 4th best record entire NBA. So big shout their entire situation. James Jones, general manager, as well as Monty Williams, player development, and then what we're seeing out the floor from the team.
Jalen, I have tomorrow night circled on my calendar because I'm about to stay up late again to watch the Lakers because they be taking on the Jazz. The Jazz made light work of my Lambeau Ball and the Hornets. Jalen, what did the Jazz do last night to the Hornets?
See, this is what I'm trying to tell you guys about Utah Jazz. You know the speed the Kansas City Chiefs have when you're watching NFL football Sundays? That's how the Jazz reign through in the current landscape of the NBA. They have multiple players shooting over 40%, and they can get hot with the rest of them. So much so, their bench alone, Ingles, Clarkson, Ball, Bridges, Johnson, Ayton, Booker, those draft picks. You need a coaching staff. And shout out to my little brother, Willie Green, who's also on Monty's staff, doing a terrific job of developing those guys. So now, when they blow away they did in the bubble, you can go get Chris Paul. So when you make that move, they're the 4th best record entire NBA. So big shout their entire situation. James Jones, Clarkson, made 19 threes in a basketball game, Jacoby.
Wow, that's wild.
Made 19 threes in a basketball game. They have a superstar
points.
in Donovan Mitchell, the go-to guy. By the way, I'm going to have something really fun happen in the game. Could be watching extremely close. Dominique Wilkins was a high flyer, but he always jumped off 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
For those that know, 50-inch vertical. Never really seen Dominique dunk off one leg. Yes, I seen Donovan Mitchell dunk off one leg. I ain't never really seen him do that. I just got to point out. Because normally he's in there.
He did something else we need to look at, too. Because you know how James Harden doing that, like, double-step three? Watch Donovan here. Okay. That's what do we got? Crab dribble, a gather step, like 1, 2, 3, pivot again. You know, when you got it going, that's how it looks. And I'm glad you brought the balance of this team, because look at how many players had in double years last night. Like, there's so many could barely fit them on the screen. Everybody contributing. Donovan Mitchell, the leader with 23, but then you get 21 from Hills. You get 20 from Yang. You get 20 from Clarkson. This is not one of those teams that's built on 1 or 2 pillar play scores and then to role players. Any one of these 7 can score 20 at least on any given. And now that brings us to some very important news that matters. Oh, Jay, I remember a day ago, you and I went into for the first time to record a podcast. One black guy, one white guy, just in a meet in the middle every single week. Now we've got some competition, Mr. O's. It is announced. There's a new odd couple, Barack Obama and the boss Bruce Springsteen. It's a new podcast. Jalen, what do you think about this pairing?
All I know is this, and I hope somebody has this ready for me. That's a failed test. That's a failed test. That's what the podcast is. A failed test. Put it back up there again, please, Tommy. Tanner, Reggie, Demetrius, put there again, and again. You just imagine Jacoby, the kind of fun they're having and the kind of treats that they be exposed to, that they get a chance to enjoy and sit in front of microphones and just talk like we do.
Yeah, they're just like us. They're not going to have a pen. They're going to be like, hey, Bruce, what's up? It's like, hey, what's up? What do you want about? I don't know. You know, they're just old and they're rich and they're famous. And then, you know, we're going to talk about whatever we want and we're going to get the big audience. And you know what? I can't wait till we're that old doing the same. Big shout to my guy, Lefty Barry Obama, and the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Jalen, we have so much more to get to. And those things is something we rarely talk. City and brought to you by welcome back to Jalen. Jalen, I don't know why I do this every day, but for some reason we allow you to decide what we discuss. Segment.
Tang.
Woo.
Tang.
If you want to discuss the topic, say hit the break. If not, we will keep moving. We start with an update on Dak Prescott. Keeping hit the brakes.
America's team. Born in the USA.
Don't do that.
Born in the USA.
Keep it moving.
Signing Dak is going to be excessive, Jerry Jones. Keep it moving for now.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Cam Newton is confident he will find a starting in NFL. Keep him with the brakes.
We'll talk about this topic when he actually signs with the team. Keep it moving now.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Thunder lost to the Heat. Big win for the Heat. Moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes, this one.
Friend of the show, Robinson, had 22. What else did you like from Heat?
I love the fact that Heat are just getting healthy. And also, they unlocked Kendrick Nunn again. Last season, he was a breakout star. Dealt with some issues in his family. And all of a sudden, Tyler Hero started playing great and his minutes evaporated. Well, now he's playing 20 minutes. And I'm here to tell you guys, Eastern Conference playoff will be outstanding this year. And yet talking about the Nets and the Sixers and the Six. And rightfully so. They're terrific teams. But I'm going to give you 2 teams that's going to be there to upset the outcard in the East. Indiana Pacers, especially if Karis LeVert return. And the Miami Heat, because they still have Bam. They still have Jim.
I was surprised if the Sixers, Celtics, and Bucks all made second round. That's a good point. Jalen, we have an update on one of favorite players, NBA, DeMarcus Boogie. Keep moving or hit the break.
Hit the break on this one.
The Rock and Cousins look to be parting ways shortly. What's the impact of that?
The impact of that is this. He's still an extremely talented player, and he's a free agent. So, therefore, treat it like a stock. If you're a team, you got a chance to buy low. This is your chance on DeMarcus Cousins. And there's so many teams around the league that should be considered doing this. Still.
We have some rumors about unicorn Kristaps Porzingis. Keep moving.
Hit the brakes on that.
There's some rumors, just some little dabble dribbles here and there that perhaps the Mets are just evaluating the market for unicorn. What do you think?
I think it's trying to light a fire on him to play well consistently. And that's things that teams do also. Because it works both ways when you put out there that a guy's going to get it. But if it was James Harden, he'd be great. If it's Watson, he'd like great. But Kristaps Porzingis, I think, and Luka have kind of kinship where they had to play together for a really long time. Let's see if this inspires them to go out and play better.
The Timberwolves announced their new head coach, Chris Finch. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes on this one.
So Finch was an assistant with Toronto, and he's now the head coach of the Timberwolves. However, Dave Vanderpool was right there in the organization and was not in the head coaching job. What does Vanderpool do now?
Well, he's going to have to leave now. He's going to end up with another team. Don't be surprised if it happens during this season, like 3-2-1 at the bottom of the ticker. But I don't appreciate how the Wolves handle this situation. Of course, it's your right to fire your head coach. But we all know it's unethical in a lot of ways to, in next breath, announce who you're hiring. That lets us clearly know that this was always in the works. And probably since Flip Saunders did so for the organization, Ryan probably knew it was happening and therefore was a surprise to him when it took place. Lastly, I want to say we need more diversity at coaches in the NBA. Come on now.
David Vanderpool was right there. He was right there. All you had to do, make him the interim coach, give him the rest of the season to prove that he has it or is not, and then you can make him in the offseason. Moving on, Vanessa Bryant has weighed in on the
Hit the break.
lyrics about Kobe. She put up an Instagram post explaining it hurt her. Meek has since bonded and apologized, and he spoke to her direct. What do you think about this saga?
It's what I know. And remember, I'm going to use words, 3 words. I told you. I told you. The next day, when those lyrics were announced and acknowledged, we came on the show and we also talked about Meek tweeting and not showing any sign of regret. And I told you, he's not only apologize, but don't be surprised if and when that verse is actually removed from Lil Baby's song. Because I'm pretty sure Lil Baby, an untouchable up-and-coming superstar in the league, guess what? He don't need any drama that he didn't create.
Albert Pujols' wife might have hinted at his fate on Instagram. Hit the brakes on this. She put a long Instagram post. At the beginning of it said, this is not an announcement of retirement, but then on to sort of make it sound like this would be his last year as it is the last year's contract. Do you think we're the last we'll see of Pujols?
Pujols is an OG, and married men, you know this. She's the boss of the household, and she gave us the wax commentary. This is the pillow talk. This is what happens in the kitchen. And her IG fingers, she couldn't help it. She's just so excited. She go get her back at the house.
Yeah, baseball don't be around a lot. She's excited to have him around 7 days a week. Shout out that power couple. Dylan, I have some statue news. Keep it moving.
Breaks.
Fernando Tatis Jr. just said a huge deal to stay with the Padres. Said he wants not 1, not 2, maybe 3 statues. Keep moving the brakes.
We're going to the brakes on this one. And the one thing I'll say about him, he's an amazing franchise-changing player. But I'm the foremost authority on statues. And here's what I'll say. He's going to get a statue in San Diego. He will. I believe he's that good. But him saying maybe 1, 2, or 3 reminds me of, how about the great athletes that have statues in college and in the league? Like Magic, Larry Bird, Shaq. They got statues in college and in the league.
Yep. He was talking
Jerry
about the
West.
first statue. He was telling Twin Jr. that he wanted one next to him. And Jim, we have some Taco Bell news. Keep it moving.
Taco Bell for some mechanic and hit the brakes.
Jalen, do you remember we ended up talking about chicken sandwiches on the show seemingly every week for 6 months? Now Taco Bell, late to the party, they want to get into the chicken sandwich game competition. Would you eat a chicken sandwich from Taco Bell?
I'm not rolling. And I'm not the guy that feels like, oh, Dono shouldn't have wings or the place shouldn't, have chicken. Like, I'm not necessarily that person. However, Taco Bell is such a niche audience and menu. It seems like chicken sandwich don't flow with it. Seems like
there's so many other things on the menu that I would order before the chicken sandwich. Like, I'm power ranking Taco Bell order. Chicken sandwich is like 27 on the list. Love me a Mexi Melt. When we come back, Jalen Rose has a unique perspective on the tell us how things really work. Take us behind the curtain. Michael Pittman Jr., the receiver for the Colts, he wears number 11. Carson Wentz is the new quarterback for the Colts, also wears number 11. Typically, a deal is made when something like that happens, but Pittman Jr. says no deal will be made. Jim, you've been in this exact situation. How does it normally work?
So when I got traded from Chicago to Toronto, Michael Brown had number 5, so I negotiated $10,000 to him in order to get my number 5. But what he didn't realize, he wasn't getting it all at once. So now and then, you get $500 one month, you get $1,000 the next month. Yeah, get it over the whole season. I didn't say I was going to give you all at once. But here's the other thing about Godwin.